Jason Todd says this amazing line in the episode where he's like, cops are either corrupt or they're unjust. When I heard him say that, I'm like, damn, Dick, what the hell are you going to say about that?
That is the most fucking white privilege bullshit I've ever heard. Like if a person of fucking color, if a fucking brown dude or fucking black people say that, we're all crazy and you can't talk shit about cops. But a masked vigilante is white and is breaking the spines of cops. He makes a one-liner and you're like, look, man, he's right. I don't know what to tell you. Like, fuck that, man.
Let's go ahead and talk about something that, man, there's something, a show where I'm just slowly eating my words. It's this right here.
All right, so look, we're halfway through. We're 6 episodes into a 12-episode count, right? We figured we're at the halfway point, and we should check back in on the Titans of it all. We had some mixed opinions. We didn't love the first episode. We dug the second episode. And I think that's for me anyway, and I know we're going to disagree, so this is interesting. Yeah. That is a trend that does not stop. Basically, every other episode is really fucking good at this show. And the episode in between isn't as good, but I know that you're digging it, right? So let me hear what you have to say first.
I like it. Is that weird to say that I'm whispering it?
Yeah, use your words. Explain. Explain yourself. Why do you like it?
Fuck, man. Okay, listen. As I said, and we continue with this show, there's gonna be lots of things that I'm gonna love, I'm gonna hate, and things I'm gonna say fuck you to. And guess what? Hey, you guys can say it to me all day because there's something about Titans I am really digging. So we are pretty much at the halfway point with Titans, and there's something when we go through episodes 3 through 5. So let's go ahead and just kind of give the catching up, so to speak, right? So we see our nuclear family, and Christian, there's something I really like about this cast, right? And I also really like how when they end up disappearing. Spoilers, by the way. We're going to talk on full spoilers on this show. There's something that I really like about this family, and they're just so different for me. And I think I just like the cast and how the story, where it seems so simple about like, oh, it's the story about Dick Grayson and, trying to take care of Raven because, he kind of had some, trust issues with Batman and he doesn't want to open up to anyone. And that's kind of now reflective on the Raven character. And she doesn't want to trust anyone. And she's going through some trusting issues. I like how that story just kind of like breaks up and kind of builds this universe within the Titan sphere of it all with these villains where they don't seem so shoehorned in. And it doesn't seem like, the characters' introductions that we get through episodes 3 through 5, you get just enough to like them, and it still adds this overarching narrative where it doesn't feel forced or anything. So we kind of see the Titans finally reunite. We kind of see them taking down the nuclear family here, which I loved, which, by the way, when they killed them, I'm like, holy crap, dude. That was kind of intense. And then we go into the Doom Patrol episode. Again, people, I don't know anything about the DC universe, so seeing these guys is kind of like a breath of fresh air to me because I'm more interested in what the hell is happening, but I'm never bored with it. And I don't know. As you can tell, now I'm sounding like a fanboy. So, Christian, I'll let you take the reins from here. What did you think of the Doom Patrol episode?
Okay, well, this is my point. I think every other episode has been good. So I didn't like 1, but I liked 2. I didn't like 3, but I liked 4 a lot. Mm-hmm. 6 was good, but I didn't like 5, man. There's just weird shit going on. And it seems like narratively, it's a show that is operating and starts and stops, right? It moves forward with a little bit of the entire team dynamic, and then it stops and there's a solo adventure. So while I liked episode 6 a lot, right, the Jason Todd episode, what you removed it almost completely from any of the other characters. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like, I understand the idea of having to tell individual stories in order to make you care, but it's like, we've kind of already done this. Like we've seen what motivates Dick Grayson for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I will say the Jason Todd thing does serve a purpose. Like, look, Batman ain't in the show, right? They have no interest in necessarily bringing him in the show, mm-hmm. but you need to show a way about how Batman has affected Dick Grayson. So by having his replacement show up, and he has this simultaneous like brotherly concern for him, but also jealousy, like, fuck you, think you can fucking replace me, you fucking asshole. You know what I mean? Like, he's mad about it, but at the same time, he knows what it's like to be the ward of Bruce Wayne, and like that's a dangerous place to be. So like that serves a purpose. I like that. The Doom Patrol episode, another thing. Yeah, it's a shoehorned backdoor pilot, sure, but it serves its purpose. You know what I mean? And what I think that this does more than anything is it maybe to a detriment to Titans, but it extends that world, like the DC streaming world, exponentially. Like I buy into this world now. I buy into a world where Robot Man's there, right? Like I buy into a world that could potentially have a Swamp Thing. Like they did a great job of introducing the weird, much like Guardians did, right? Like we look at what Marvel became in Phase 3, and it's like, well, you're welcome, Guardians. Like they fucking did it all. They established the weird. They allowed you to get cosmic with it. And I think that episode of Titans, you know, again, the Titans do take a back step, but it establishes that world, and that's super important. But it has some problems, man. Like the team dynamic isn't quite there yet. Beast Boy is barely in episodes, and then they finally do give him an episode, but it takes like 4 episodes until he like, you know, is there on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Also, why does he only turn into one animal? What's up with that? Like, can he turn into a bunch of different animals? Am I fucking this up?
No. I mean, you got it right. And they explained that like he can somehow split his genes into like transforming into other animals. But all we're seeing right now is the tiger. And I'm not even necessarily complaining too much about it. I want to go back real quickly with the Doom Patrol episode. What I really like, though, is that the backstory now with Beast Boy seems more natural to me. Yeah, it seems more natural to me. Does that make sense? Where it's like, oh, they kind of explain his backstory, and that's how you see now the introductions of the Doom Patrol. And it wasn't just, oh, here's Beast Boy in this universe, and we know they're eventually going to reunite and all become the Teen Titans, right? With Starfire and Raven and Robin, right? Because that's what this show's going to be about, right? So I kind of like how, you know, you get this introductions of the Doom Patrol and how it kind of fits really nicely with Beast Boy's backstory. And again, the guy who I made fun of the most in the trailer is the guy I like. I'm not saying I like the most. I like the dynamic with Robin. And you're right. There are a few criticisms with the show that should be said. And we can talk about Jason Todd in a second. But this is one of the first concerning things I have is the thing with Batman. Listen, I know for the sake of the story, and right now to me, it's teetering on like, okay, we give enough backstory to Dick Grayson and now Jason Todd with Batman and, you know, how they're in their respective roles. But they keep on talking about Batman too much. And I'm scared that this might become the fucking Batman show because, listen, DC fans hate saying this, but you can't have anything in like 95% of DC properties without an Easter egg to Batman, without a mentioning of Batman. Batman. Listen, I fucking love Batman as much as anyone else. But, I mean, come on, dude. I was already disappointed. This was something I will give a negative to on Titans. It's like we got like a shadow of Bruce Wayne, you know? We see him, you know, writing letters to Dick Grayson, right? Like, oh, I feel with you, and I see where you're coming from, and, you know, just come under my wing. And they just keep on referencing Batman way too much. And this is something that I can't help but wonder that if season 2, I know they're already shooting, becomes a thing, and they look at it while they're shooting it, they're like, okay, what did people really like about Titan season 1, right? You know, as they're all sitting down writing their notes, and they're like, oh yeah, they love the Batman stuff. And here's the thing that scares me. They're either going to bring more fucking Batman shit into this universe, or, you know, if the show does bad for whatever reason in season 2, they're going to be like, not enough Batman. So that's the biggest double-edged sword I have with it.
Let me push back on that, if I may, which is just to say that episode 6, while it had its problems, I think it largely served to show the final straw that Dick Grayson needs to really shed the Robin persona. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To like really become Nightwing. Like I didn't think that was something that was going to happen by the end of the season. Now at the halfway point, I think that's the only logical way that the first season has to end, right? Like, you know, fucking Jason Todd having a one-liner after snapping a cop's back is not played for laughs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's played to show like, oh fuck, like, yeah, like Bruce rearing a child is not good. And like, I'm a survivor, right? Like he's an abuse victim essentially.
Yeah.
And so like what I'm hoping is that with that episode, they're able to kind of close the book on the Batman of it all, because I understand what you're saying, dude.
Yeah.
It's problematic, and either fucking commit to it or fucking get away from it. And I'm really sincerely hoping that this is them making a declarative decision, making a statement and being like, all right, we're away from the Batman now. We needed to get real close to that Batman so we can make our point, but now we're going to swerve and we're going to bring it back over here.
But I do like how he's young, he's brash, and he's like, man, listen, I grew up in the streets and I fucking hate the cops. And there's a scene in the episode where he is just beating them down like there's no other. And, he looks at Dick Grayson and he's like, yeah, dude, the cops give me shit, so I'm going to fight back. And you know what? I can get away with it because I'm fucking Robin and I'm with Batman. So, and although Batman has this gray line of the cops, because Jason Todd says this amazing line in the episode where he's like, cops are either corrupt or they're unjust. When I heard him say that, I'm like, damn, Dick, what the hell are you going to say about that? Because he's not necessarily wrong in this universe.
Okay, look, that is the most fucking white privilege bullshit I've ever heard. Like if a person of fucking color, if a fucking brown dude or fucking black people say that, we're all crazy and you can't talk shit about cops. But a masked vigilante is white and is breaking the spines of cops. He makes a one-liner and you're like, look, man, he's right. I don't know what to tell you. Like, fuck that, man. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Black Lightning couldn't do that to a cop. That's all I'm saying.
That's how I took it. But anyway, one more other thing, and I know it's in the comics, and I know it's a thing, and this is what I told Christian before we started. I just don't like how shoehorned they just made Dick Grayson and Starfire's relationship happen like this, right? For Dick being so closed off from the 6 episodes that we've seen, except with the exception of Dove and Hank or Hawk, right?
Yeah, Dove and Hawk.
Starfire, goes to Dick Grayson's like hotel room in one of the episodes, and he just like, what do you think you're gonna do? You're just gonna give me some alcohol, and then I'm just gonna kind of open myself up to you? And she's like, yeah. And then next thing I know, they're playing some fucking porno music in the background, and they're already having sex, and I'm like, well, that was a little fucking ridiculous, but
right. There's nothing wrong with like doing, the romance is in the comics and it's in the show and like, that's whatever, you know what I mean? But like, it's still up to you to make it make sense to us. Just because it is what it is doesn't mean that you have to be lazy about setting it up. And I agree with you, man. Like when I was arguing against you, I hadn't seen the episode yet. And then I saw it and I was like, yeah, it's not great. So yeah, that's a problem. And that's the thing. It's a show that has problems, but like it has to do so much heavy lifting. It's launching a universe, like I said. And right now, there's still more good than bad. Like, I'm still cautiously optimistic about what the show can do in the back half of the season.
Hey, for once, I'm actually happy I'm eating my own words, man. I am actually really digging this.